Hey folks, welcome to another painting video, and today we're going to be painting the Efreet flame casters. So this is the dual pack where you can do either a sword dancer or a flame caster, but this time we're going to be using the Harder and Steenbeck Ultra Airbrush. We're going to start off with a base setting. We're going to be using some orange magma to start with, so whenever we're making fire we want to go the opposite of usually dark to light. We actually want to go light to dark, because we want the brightest flame on the bottom. And I'm doing this because I want to show you guys how easy it is to airbrush with the Harder and Steenbeck airbrush. It is amazing. So first of all, we primed up this miniature with some matte white airbrush, so that was done before. And again, I want to thank Bellum-Games for sending me this box set. This is amazing. It's fun that when you can build two different kinds of miniatures and showcase both of them with one box. Good to be used if you want to play the skirmish version or if you want to play the rank and file version. Conquest, go take a look at their eShop. Use East Mini 10 to save 10% on your next order and support the channel. Alright, so we moved on to setting number 2 now, because we don't want as much coming out of the brush, and we're just going to get some of the higher edges. We're going to go with the lava orange now, which is a little bit darker orange. We're going to get some of the higher edges. As you can see, I'm just spraying on very lightly, and what's fun with airbrushes is that they stay kind of opaque, the colors, so even though they go on top of a bright color, they stay nice and bright and vivid, and you're not over saturating your colors. And using this airbrush for a beginner like me is just fan-freaking-tastic. The final color we're putting is molten orange. This is going to go mostly the top parts here. I will clean up some of my messes later on when I with the airbrush. That's what happens. Sometimes you'll get some overspray, but having those settings is great. Now the final highlight, what we're doing is using Imp Yellow now, and I'm trying to just get into the crevices. I think I went to level 3 on this one. If I'm not mistaken, 3 is like super fine. And I just want to hit some of the areas, and I went all around the base here just to make that shine on the dirt here. I didn't even use a shade or anything on the ground. I just went with that. Next we're using is some Nomad flesh on the skin of this Jinn or Efreet, which is awesome. And look at this, I'm really controlling my spray just with the number. I believe this is 2. I don't remember anymore which one I'm using, but I'm able to control really well. However, I think the opposite goes when you're airbrushing. I think you want to do the further stuff first, and then whatever's less, like more recessed afterwards, because there's an overspray that's going to happen, I find, more with the higher stuff, as you're going to see here with the ocean depths, which is very close to the azure blue that I used when painting with the fanatics paints on the sword dancers. Or is that what they're called? Sword dancers? Yeah, I think so. And these are the flame casters. You can see they have flames coming out of their hands instead of swords. Again, these box sets, when they have the dual building on them, you can build whatever you want. It's really awesome. But I was having a little bit of trouble here with my airbrush because I didn't realize how hard you actually do have to pull back. I feel like I don't think I was pulling back enough. Once I learned that trick, boy, does it ever flow perfectly. Like, you really just gotta not feel bad about pulling on that trigger. It's not gonna break. It stops by itself, so pull back on it. And I knew that once I started using the Coven Purple here, really going on some of the areas, the turban here on the head, some of the other little things that I used on his skirt there, dressing. But look again, and what's great is that it keeps so many details because it doesn't go on thick at all. Again, Army Painter though, air paints, just amazing. Leather brown now for that belt around, and then I move on. Now we're going to start painting some other stuff here. So I'm using some strong violet. It's a cultist purple, which is in the purples group of the warpaints fanatics. You can see I got my nice little wet palette out here, just slowly putting on this on here on those wristbands that he has. It's a bit darker than the other purple I used on the turban and on those the things there, whatever they were. And now I'm using a soft tone wash from those fanatics line as well on all the skin, and just look at how well it goes on. Now I didn't water it down, I'm just using it on the wet palette, so the wet palette is a bit wet, so it does give it a bit of a watered down feel, but when it dries, the muscles, everything just gets all nice and toned. And then I'm using the strong tone on the belt, the blue tone on everything that I used that ocean depth on before, just to give it more depth as well, because I'm not doing a ton of highlights on this guy, just a little bit, not to go too crazy. What the longest part is on this one is actually doing all the gold, and you'll see that coming up real soon. The purple tone now for the areas that are purple. Again, look, just amazing on top of the air paints. the airpaints kept so much of the details that when you put the wash, it gets into all the recesses, gets all the details you wanted. And just some ashen stone for his little goatee there. That's it. Very simple. Nothing more than that. Now we're coming in now with the Violet Coven, I believe it's called. It is a very light purple. Just going over some of the parts on the areas that were purple before. Not too bright, just getting some of the little highlights here and there, some of the edges, just to give it a little bit more depth to it. And this is after having let those washes dry quite a bit. I believe it was not 24 hours at least, just because I was in between other paintings. I know my videos have been a little bit slow lately. Life has been quite crazy for me. Lots going on. So thank you again, though. I appreciate the support. Again, another super big thank you to Bellum-Games for sending me this box, and also you guys, if you want to support the channel and get some money saved on Parabellum stuff, take a look at their eShop and use EastMini10 as a promo code. You'll get 10% off, and I'll get a little bonus from all that as well. So if you're into Conquest or First Blood, take a look at it, because you can use the same miniatures for 2 completely different games, which is awesome. Again, now just using some Hydra Turquoise from the Warpaints Fanatics here to get some highlights done on that blue a while ago. And here is the really, really long part, is the Greedy Gold. This brings me back to when I was painting Ankh Gods of Egypt, where I always had some sort of gold or tainted gold or Aztec gold or bright gold. Anything that was metallic on those guys was long, because it was always usually the intricate details, and you can't go around painting with an airbrush on these intricate details because you're going to hit everything else. So I had to go around and just really take it easy on this, use a very small brush on them. But they do such a great job covering, and these metallics, in my opinion, I will say, are really good. Again, another big shout out to my patrons. I know I'm not supposed to shout out all the time, but I just want to say thank you again. Those guys are amazing. If you want to join, take a look at my Patreon page, link in the description. Some bonus content there, early access, and so on. Alright, so again, finishing off with the Greedy Gold here. We're almost done, and then this Efreet Flamecaster is painted. What do you guys think? How do you think it looks like? Anyways, again, there you have it, all painted up, ready for the table. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment down below if you have any miniature questions, and we'll see you all in the next one.